I'm nothing if not a fashionista. This is We Have Concerns. Hi, Jeff Canada.
Hi, Anthony Carboni.
Hello, concerned citizens.
Anthony, we often talk on this here podcast about the cutting edge, the bleeding line of discovery and science. I'm fascinated by what's next.
Yes.
What's right around the bend, you know?
The future, Jeff.
That's right. Technology that's going to save us.
Tomorrow's today.
That's right. The newest discoveries, the enlightenment, this scientists coming up with new things that change our ideas of how stuff works.
Yeah.
But you know, I also think it's interesting to look back and see how that has happened in the past. The previous bleeding's edge.
Bleeding's edges.
That's right.
Now, what if it was yesterday's bleeding edge, does that make it today's soft middle?
Yes. And the softest of middles is what we're going to be talking about today.
Okay.
We're going to be talking about milk. Yes. We got this fascinating article, sent to us by our friend Z Synergy Mansfield.
Thanks, Synergy.
Synergy doing the work. This is an article on Atlas Obscura written by Andrew Coletti that talks about something I have never heard of. It's before, obviously before our times. I'm wondering, this article says that this sort of old wives' tale, if you will, persists. I'm wondering if you've ever heard of this. This is the notion that was taken as absolute gospel, as just accepted fact for the entire 19th century and the first half of the 20th century.
Okay.
That during a lightning storm, your milk will curdle.
Huh.
Have you ever heard of that?
I have not.
So this was something that was just the truth. Just everybody knew that if there was a lightning storm, that if you have a big thunderstorm and you've got milk, your milk is going to go sour.
Now, does that, even if it's in a fridge? What if the refrigerator is lead lined? What if it's in a fridge? What if it's in a modern fridge in a home that's climate controlled during a thunderstorm?
Well, obviously,
I have so many questions.
Yes, we've moved past this, and obviously, the origin of this it predates refrigeration, predates pasteurization, right? Both ends of the temperature spectrum when it comes to milk. It really was people like having milk in a bucket outside or inside, for that matter.
Yeah,
they milked their. This is farm culture.
Yeah, this is farm culture, and if you don't understand farm culture, you need to not be questioning farm culture.
That's right.
Okay, if you're not from the farms, don't come to the farms. All right.
Yeah.
No, farm culture. Yeah. So that's my main question here is like, you milk a cow, you maybe, if you have an ice box, maybe you put the milk in an ice box.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Keep it fresh for the next couple days, but it's not like in a refrigerator.
No, but
dude, milk just sitting in a metal pail. Have you ever thought about it?
This is the thrust of this. This is why this is so fascinating to me, because we take for granted these things that existed before we were born, right? As we were born, the world was just as it should be, right? We came into the world and everything has always been like this because this is the only way we knew things. And I love deep diving on little minutia of the way people lived that was just wholly different than how we did. But it was commonplace at that time.
I think about this a lot, Jeff. I think about in a movie where they're showing like I don't know, whether it's a movie about somebody living a simple farm life or a really popular trope where it's like a cool kid has to go to a farm and they try to teach the cool kid to milk a cow. And the kid looks at the cow and he's like, ugh. And he looks at the pail and he's like, ugh. And then they milk the cow. But in every situation, it's just squeezing milk into like a metal pail.
That's right.
And like
a pail of milk.
Where...
And they just kept it in the pail.
How do you
wash time to drink it?
Yeah, and then what? Like, what are the procedures for washing this milk pail and keeping it clean? Like, I don't like it. I don't like it. I would not drink that milk. I need milk to be, number one, I don't really drink dairy anyway, but number two, I need milk to be an abstracted concept.
Oh, yes. Yes. It can't, I don't want to think about its origins.
No. Like milk has to be 3 steps abstracted for me to even consider it.
Right.
I don't drink dairy, so it's been a long time since I've just poured myself a glass of milk. But the idea of, I think part of the reason for that is the idea of this metal pail.
Right.
The idea of this person squeezing into this metal pail and like sometimes it's got a couple of pieces of hay in it or whatever.
It's so true.
You know?
It's so true. Well, that's the thrust of the story. So in 1858, there was a guy by the name of John D. Catton, C-A-T-O-N, Catton, Catton maybe?
Inventor of the cat engine? Right around the same time, right?
No, he was actually a Supreme Court justice for Illinois.
Okay, calm down.
And amateur scientist. This is the period that we love, that we talk about all the time, where everybody could be and also an amateur scientist.
God, it's, the gentleman scientist.
So good.
Truly the best time in human history because it's when the most rich people were killing themselves accidentally.
That's right. By just consuming mercury or plucking out an eyeball for experimentation
Let's see if I can put it back in. Turns out I can't.
Turns out
I can't and it's infected and I'm dead. Whoops.
That's the only way I could have known, though. There was no other way to determine whether or not I could.
One less. They didn't have billionaires then, but it was one less thousandaire.
Yes.
Get rid of those people.
So this guy, John Catton, he penned an article in the Scientific American, 1858's Scientific American, called "Lightning and Milk." This was his article. In it, he was tackling this well-known mystery that everybody knew about, which is if there's a lightning storm, your milk goes bad.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm going to use some science and get to the bottom of this.
Good.
Yeah.
Good for him.
He wrote, and this is exactly what we were talking about. His quote to start this article was, "It may not be generally understood by scientific men, but it is well known to dairymen and housewives that a violent thunderstorm turns sweet into sour milk."
Listen, the dairymen know.
The dairymen know.
Where my real ones at? Where are those dairymen at?
Right. Farm culture, baby.
Hate it. So, okay, that's a good opening sentence. It's a bit of a leading opening statement, I think.
Yeah.
Because this now has me presupposing that he found that the lightning storms make the milk sour.
That was his theory. That was the theory he was presenting, that it is not just the storm itself. It is the electricity.
Oh,
the electricity.
I see. So not only is this correct, it's correct for reasons.
"The thunder doth everywhere introduce corruption and putrefaction."
Yeah, it doth.
It's the lightning's fault.
Yeah, it doth do it.
If you zap your milk, it goes bad, which is ironic because actually the opposite can be true. If you electrocute milk enough, it can actually pasteurize it.
Yeah, that's what we're not there yet.
No, we're not there yet.
We're not there yet.
We haven't gotten that far. So they discuss a poison called nitric acid. That
Wait, this was 1858?
1858. Yeah.
Dude, he missed pasteurization by like 4 years.
I know, right?
Like
so close.
4 years,
close,
dude. This guy was about to be made a goddamn fool of.
Well, he could have been, he could have been
Louis Pasteur.
Yes. It could have been called the catanization of milk.
That's right. Well, that would have been one more thing that America could have had, another feather in our cap. But this guy's
right. Catanize. You catanize your milk. Is that milk catanized?
Fucking idiot.
So close. So close. So he said, so he's got this this experiment that he runs, right? Where he puts electrical wires, he put electrical current through bowls of milk.
Great.
Guess what happened?
Shocked him when he tried to lick it. Tried to lap up that milk and it shocked him.
Blew up his Oreos.
That's right. He also, John Catton, owned 30 cats.
That's right.
That's how he got his name. And they would go by.
Obsessed with milk.
That's right. And they would go by and they would try to lick the electrified milk. And he lost 26 of those 30 cats in that day.
So it was worth it for science.
That's right. Those are the costs that we pay.
That's right. No, what happened was fucking nothing. Nothing. The milk did not curdle. So Catton was like, guess what? This thing that we all assumed was the reason ain't the reason. He disproved that lightning soured milk.
Okay, but
he didn't have a solution. He just disproved
the
common wisdom.
But Jeff, here I am. Imagine I'm a dairy man.
Yeah.
You know, here I am, a thinking man's dairy man, and I get my popular science and I'm reading it on the porch while I'm whittling or whatever.
Sure.
And I look at it and I go, this motherfucker. Everyone knows it's not the lightning that does it, right? If I'm somebody who has, this is the thing about folksy wisdom, Jeff. It's really hard to disprove and throw out folksy wisdom.
Yes.
Because you can say, hey man, I electrocuted these bowls of milk and it turns out that didn't work. And every dairy farmer in the country is going to say like, well, what do you know, man? Here's what I can tell you. Thunderstorm happens, milk goes bad.
I live this every day.
Yeah. Maybe it's not the lightning. Maybe it's something that you didn't find. Sorry.
Yeah.
You didn't prove that it's not true.
Maybe it's the spirits of my ancestors that live inside the storm.
Who knows, dude?
Yeah. Yeah.
Who knows? Did people accept this answer?
Well, it shook things up, but nobody had a solution. And it took until 1891 for a fella by the name of Aaron L. Treadwell to suggest that maybe it's bacteria. Could it possibly be bacteria that we're leaving it out in the pail with the bits of hay and the dung all around it?
But the storm, though. Explain the storm then. Are you telling me, or maybe are you also telling me that bacteria causes thunderstorms?
Ooh, interesting.
Because listen, because all I'm saying is thunderstorm happens, milk is bad. Now what?
Yeah.
Now what?
Now what? So everybody still sort of believed that there was the charge in the stormy sky did it. And Treadwell was like, hey, if that's true, now we got pasteurization. If that's true, then pasteurized milk and unpasteurized milk should sour equally when exposed to storms.
Ooh, good call.
Yeah.
Good call, Treadwell.
Did a little experiment.
Somebody waited for pasteurization before they made a fool of themselves.
So close again. So close.
Sorry, Andrew.
So close. So Treadwell wrote, it seems to me most likely that whatever rapid souring occurs is due to unusually rapid growth of bacteria caused by especially favorable conditions in the atmosphere.
I don't buy it.
Now, this Treadwell, this is an article in the magazine Science because he found out that pasteurized and unpasteurized milk in the same storm did not sour at the same rate.
Right. Now he was in Science, not Popular Science.
Not Popular Science.
He was in Unpopular Science.
He was in newfangled science that I don't trust.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But it then fast forward all the way to 1927. So we got like 35 more years of people just believe in this and still thinking that's an unexplained phenomenon.
Okay.
There is a book that is published called A Guide to Quality in Dairy Products.
Yeah, I got a copy. Not
Sure, we all-
not a first edition.
No, those would go for, you know how much those go for?
I wish I had a first edition.
Signed by Edward Holyote Farrington, the author.
Please, that's my dream. to have a first edition Farrington signed.
Woo! Man.
Mint and bag. Graded.
He says the thick, sultry atmosphere usually precedes thunder showers and provides favorable conditions for the growth of milk souring bacteria. He also noted the condition of the milk cans.
Yeah, go on.
He said if milk is stored in unsanitized vessels that already harbor bacteria cultures,
go on.
It will curdle even faster when exposed to the warm, wet air bacteria love.
This is why I want a first edition Farrington. This dude gets it.
He's like, have you looked at the pails? Anybody?
Has anybody
looked at the pails?
Because these pails is nasty.
Dude, we're talking 70 years to get to the pails, Anthony.
Dude, the amount of time it took for just like germ theory and the idea of bacteria to take hold, so long.
Yeah.
So long. And the idea of that, like, hey, maybe everything needs to be clean. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the amount of time it took for just the idea of we should make sure everything is pretty clean.
Yeah. Let me read you this line that Farrington writes. And by the way, a breakthrough. This is a thunderbolt in the dairy community.
Which immediately made it sour.
That's right. People were definitely soured, I'm sure, to hear it. Farrington writes, quote, if the cows are clean, the milk cans are clean, and all the utensils are carefully sterilized, souring can be avoided.
No. Dude, okay. I think about how, like in the Middle Ages, there was this idea that there's the idea that flies were born from meat.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because you saw them there, and obviously that's where they come from.
Yeah, flies and maggots were born from meat.
Right. They didn't exist on the clean table, but when I put meat there and left it out for 2 weeks,
that's right.
Then they appeared.
They appear. They're born out of the meat, and that's like the Middle Ages. And we're at 1927, and just at 1927, our guy's like, "Hey, man." Hey, man.
Hey, everybody. Maybe clean it.
Maybe just clean it, dude. Maybe just clean it.
Maybe the same pail you used to move all of the,
This is
feces?
why. This is why the modern grocery store, Jeff.
Yeah.
While it is a problem, is also one of the greatest boons we've ever received as a society, because all of the food is abstracted.
Yeah.
And listen, it's problematic for reasons that we've talked about before. It's problematic for all of the agribusiness and the fact that we aren't connected to our food, and so we don't understand health and nutrition and all that. Blah 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 blah. Food come in cubes.
That's right. Yes.
Food come in cubes or orbs or strips sometimes.
That's right.
And that's it. That's it.
Certainly it come in packages.
I am looking for my particularly favorite orbs or cubes.
That's right.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know where it comes from.
How it got here.
I don't want to know what it looks like.
No.
I don't want to know. I simply can't. I simply can't. The idea that milk at some point was sitting somewhere, anywhere, can't happen. You know?
Yeah. No, nobody wants to think about that.
I asked my mom what
people were forced to think about it all the time because they, generated their own food.
I asked my mom what color milk was when she was a kid.
Yeah.
Because they didn't bleach the milk at that point. They started bleaching the milk when she was a kid. And she's like, I don't really remember too many years of it. She's like, yeah, but like milk was off-white. Can you imagine? Can you imagine pouring a glass of milk and it's off-white?
Brownish. And it'll have like a frothy film when you pour it.
I would immediately vomit. Immediately.
Yeah.
You would open up the milk carton and begin pouring it, and I would immediately I couldn't even handle it when I went to Canada and the milk was in a bag. I saw milk in a bag and I went I literally just like felt nauseous.
Yeah.
It's the same milk. It's just in a bag. But I looked at it in a bag and I was like, ugh. Like just gooping around in that bag, liquiding around in that bag.
There was hundreds of years where milk was a frothy, filmy, viscous substance.
Dude.
That's what milk was.
Oh,
you know?
I can't. And even when I used to drink milk, I was like a skim milk person.
Oh, me too. We always had non-fat when I was a kid.
Because, oh my gosh, like my mom didn't like skim milk, but she knew that I wouldn't drink anything but skim milk.
Yeah. Which is basically water. If you drink now, I don't know, I get 2% now because when I drink non-fat now as an adult, it tastes like water to me.
That's fine. Odd. That's fine. That's fine for me. I don't like
drink milk.
I don't like any thickness. I don't like any thickness to a beverage. You know?
Yeah.
A thick beverage? Get fucked.
But dude, raw milk. I actually met a guy, this is years ago. And you would actually probably know who he is, but I'm not going to out him here on the show.
No, don't out him here on the show.
It's illegal. It's illegal to get raw milk, but there was like a period in like
you also can't have unpasteurized cheese, stuff like that. You have to
But there was like this kind of weird, internet fueled subculture that started believing that like raw milk was way better for you.
Yes. There was a raw movement that I remember was like very much, it was so stupid. It was
like early 2000s.
Dude, it was from the same amount. It was the same period of time when people were like, hey, did you know that you don't have to eat if you just put a stick of butter in your coffee? Like,
right.
It was, it's that weird thing where people become too removed from knowledge, like living memory of something goes away. And so like, and there's a lot of this in the tech industry where like, where people who are smart at particular areas of their life, but dumb about other things, they don't research anything and they go, hey, it makes sense to me that maybe maybe we shouldn't be pasteurizing this. Has anybody done any research? Yes. Hundreds of years worth. Yes.
It's exactly what we're talking about. It's exactly what this story is. There's this weird reverence for like a bygone wisdom.
Yes.
Right? Like, oh, hundreds of years ago, they knew better than we do today. And there's like, with every falsehood, there's like a kernel of truth in that. And
that's the problem.
That's the problem, is that you can latch onto that kernel of truth. And yes, as we have railed on this show against, industrialized farming and a lot of the pendulum swinging too far in one direction. But that does not mean the pendulum needs to go back to the time we're talking about when people were like, why does the storm curdle my raw milk?
Yeah, it's like when people were very angry about GMO. Just anything that was GMO. Is this GMO? Baby, if it wasn't GMO, there would be one kind of apple.
Exactly.
Like if it wasn't,
bananas wouldn't taste like that.
Yeah, bananas wouldn't exist. They simply wouldn't exist.
Right.
So like, there's a lot of there's a lot of emming. You know what I mean in the G.
Yeah, that's the problem, is that these nuanced positions lose all nuance because it's like, oh, there are some GMOs that we've gone too far and can be harmful to us. I will have none of them. It's like, no, we don't have to. It's not a zero-sum game all the time.
So this person was getting the raw milk brought in?
Illegal raw milk. I remember I went to their house and they had, and can I tell you, dude, this shit was thick. Thick. like
Absolutely not.
pudding.
No.
And yeah, and I did not drink it. I could not bring myself to drink it, but I watched them drink it, and it did feel very Dickensian. It felt like the boy in his rags who just got done working all day at the mine, just tips back a frothy glass of raw milk, and it's like
No.
all in your mustache. It's
Ugh.
just, yeah,
God, disgusting.
yeah.
No, I can't. The idea that that's like, the idea that that's good,
Yeah.
the idea
Yeah,
that
well,
would be good.
So we've got Farrington's breakthrough in 1927 where he's like, guys, clean stuff.
Yeah.
1937, 10 years later.
Everybody goes, fuck you, Farrington.
Fuck you, Farrington.
We're putting more dirt in it.
No, 1937, 10 years later, the Telegraph still has an article entitled "Thunderstorm Curdled Milk Puzzle Still Baffles Science."
False.
Right? So this is how these things persist, and these traditions are passed down, and even at that time, it's hard for science to sort of break through the conventional wisdom.
Well, the other thing about that, though, is in 1937, it's probably very hard to get a newspaper to give you the budget to make a bunch of long distance calls.
Yeah,
to research whether the milk curdling thing, like this is probably somebody who was just like, well, I'm writing a story, and did all their research on a local level and had no idea this was published.
We interviewed the 6 farmers that are neighbors to me.
Right. I did everything I could.
Yeah, right.
Whereas now it's like
all these farmers agree that happens.
Whereas now, well, I was going to say, whereas now you could just look it up, but no, we've destroyed Google. So now you look up whether thunderstorms curdle milk, and Google tells you to stick a stick in your ear. It's like you can feel the pressure of a thunderstorm if you stick a pencil deep into your ear.
As deep as it'll go, and then a little farther.
Yeah. Thanks, AI.
Well, evidently, this article on Atlas Obscura says that they were able to find a Reddit post that was entitled "What Was My Grandpa Talking About?"
Yo, that could fit in so many situations. What was my grandpa talking about? No. Do not quote your grandpa, because that was racist.
Yeah. Yeah. Chances are.
What's this word my grandpa said? No.
No. You don't want to know. Yeah. You don't want to know. But there were people who, particularly growing up in very rural areas, that said that this was still a popular belief in their lifetime. Like their grandparents were like, no, you don't want to leave milk out during the storm. Hey, Grandpa, you don't want to leave milk out at all. How about that?
Yeah. Why don't we be super duper safe in case of a flash flood or a thunderstorm out of nowhere? And why don't we just always keep the milk in the fridge?
That's a good idea.
Why don't we just always do it? I don't know.
Yeah. This, when people started pasteurizing milk and refrigerating milk, they stopped noticing it, and this notion kind of fell out of the popular psyche. But there are still pockets of rural communities that hold on to this kind of antiquated notion. And that Telegraph article, the best thing about it is it suggests that if this happens to you, Anthony, if the storm spoils your milk, fear not. All you need to do, sprinkle a little sugar on top. Now you got a yogurt treat.
Oh, thanks. Oh, thank you for that.
Lightning yogurt. It's lightning yogurt.
Ka-chow. Oh boy. And they did that, huh?
That was the you're not going to throw away perfectly good spoiled milk.
No, because that took you had to yank on a cow to get that.
I used up my one good pail.
Yeah, that's
for
right.
that.
That's right. The other pails are even dirtier. That was my cleanest pail.
The cleanest of the pails.
Would you call it a clean pail? Well, I'd call it the cleanest of the pails.
I'd say the other one's pale in comparison.
Ugh.
Here's my question. Here's one of the reasons.
Sprinkle sugar on it.
Sprinkle sugar on it.
That's now my answer for anything.
Yeah. Did it go bad? Yeah, sprinkle a little sugar.
Sprinkle a little sugar on that.
Yeah. Here's my question. This is one of the reasons I wanted to bring this up. I find this stuff fascinating. These how long it takes for us to get out of the darkness, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes me think. I recognize we are in the information age. I recognize things change faster now than they ever have, and we're able to synthesize our research across vast distances and cultures.
Sure.
And all those things lead to a quicker pace of getting out of the darkness. But don't you think there's still shit like this? There's still shit that we just don't know we don't know.
Oh, yeah.
You know? Like
yeah.
every modern age, every contemporary person thinks, hey, we're the smartest we've ever been, because they are the smartest we've ever been. But they're not the smartest we're gonna be.
No, absolutely not. And this is one of those things where that's the argument that it's an important argument, and it's also the argument that people use to like start drinking unpasteurized milk again, right?
Yes.
Because it's the argument that people use to spread misinformation online, to be a flat earther, all that stuff. Where it's like, oh, you think you know everything, huh, science? But can't you admit that there are things that we don't know? And the moment you go, well, yeah, they go, uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, then
floodgates are open, baby.
Well, then couldn't the earth be flat then?
Yeah. Right.
No, the earth could not be flat then. There are some things we do know, but I do think that, yes, there are things that we're very confident about that I think we've covered a few of them on the show, where it's like, we were very confident about this up until like last year.
Yeah.
Whoops.
I mean, I think one of the things that we talk about all the time that I think is sort of on that edge of really realigning what we think, and we've done numerous stories about this, is animal intelligence and animal sort of complexity of experience, you know?
Yeah.
And I think for hundreds of years of human life, it's like, dumbass animal doesn't know anything. And it's like, well, no, I think the animals maybe feel and intuit more than we give them credit for.
I had a buddy that was like, oh, dogs can't feel pain unless it's on like a really intense level. Like it would take a lot to make a dog feel pain. I'm like, well, that's clearly not true. Like that's clearly not true, but that was just like a belief, right? Because it's like he came from a background where like dogs were just like helper animals. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it was like, oh, it's okay. It doesn't really hurt them. I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure it hurts them.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they get hurt.
Yeah. Yeah. Another one I think that is very contemporary, that is kind of realigning our assumptions that we just took a priori as truth, is the gut health, you know, and how much that affects our behavior, our cognitive interior life, you know, like I think you would tell that to a person even 50 years ago, where it's like, hey, maybe the bacteria in your gut are affecting your behavior. And they're like, what? No, my brain. I think, I make a thought.
Yeah.
I decide how I behave, you know?
Yeah. That whole thing of like the brain centric, you know, when you picture yourself it's like, where do you picture you? And most people would be like, right up here in my head, you know, like there's a little man at the controls, like Inside Out style.
Right.
And the answer is actually that it's a whole system of things that are influencing you. I think there's a ton of stuff that we just take for granted.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Which makes me think maybe I should be leaving my milk out.
Yeah. Hey man, if there's a thunderstorm, you're going to get some sweet ass lightning yogurt out of that.
Dude, you know? Lightning yogurt. Sprinkle some sugar on it and it's fine. I'm just picturing these people doing that and then just like doubling over in pain and not knowing why.
We have a weird spike in deaths after a storm too. No one can explain that.
Just like the next day, the guy wakes up and is just like, boy, the storm doesn't just ruin the milk. I have diarrhea for the next 3 days afterwards.
Lightning diarrhea. What is that about?
Yeah, it's like, you ever get that? The lightning runs? It's known all across the dairyland.
Sure. Your scientific men might not be familiar with it, but ask a dairy man.
Ask any dairy man. Any sugar of the earth dairy man. So gross. Well,
so gross.
Thank goodness. Is this something that's still believed in parts of the country, or no? Is this gone now?
Well, that's what that Reddit post is like, it's mostly gone. It's mostly fallen out of, because it just doesn't happen because no one's not putting their milk in the fridge, right?
Right.
Even
no one's leaving milk out.
But there's still this Reddit post is kind of this vestige of an older time where people are like, I remember my grandpa talking about the lightning phenomenon of curdling milk.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness that's gone. Thank goodness that's where it's at.
Yeah.
Ugh. Well,
just stops happening because literally
because it doesn't rain anymore. It doesn't rain as much as it used to.
Storms. Yeah.
The thunderstorms aren't the way they were when I was a kid.
Yeah, they don't make lightning like they used to.
No. No, you can't even make decent yogurt with it now.
That's right. I've been sprinkling sugar on it for years and it doesn't taste right.
Yeah. I don't want to think about there being like horrible mistakes in thinking about our food. Do you know what I mean?
So many.
Like,
so many.
I know, but particularly in like food safety, I don't like there being misconceptions, like popular misconceptions. The idea that like, I don't know, gross.
We're just all doing it. We're all doing it. The other thing I think about with regard to food is like, there isn't anything on this planet that somebody hasn't tried to eat once.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
God bless them. Somebody's got to try.
I think about a lobster.
Yeah.
Or a crab. Like, what were the steps it to realize that lobster could be delicious?
I think back in the day, you simply looked at something and you were hungry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You looked at something and you were like, delicious or not, we're about to find out.
We're going to find out. I got to put it in my mouth because there's nothing else I got
the lobster is interesting though, because it's armored.
That's right.
You know,
so like the desperation of like, we're going to smash the fuck out of this. There's got to be something I can eat in here.
Is there something worth eating inside of this, or is it simply nature's robot?
That's right.
Is it nature's automaton?
There was a day we did not know the answer to that.
That's right. It was just, maybe it's plates all the way down.
That's right. What?
Maybe I crack it open and its spirit leaves.
Why would you think otherwise? What, looking at a lobster, would you go, there's delicious morsels inside that? No.
Absolutely not. I would look at that and run in panic.
It's a rock monster.
Yeah.
There's no delicious morsel inside the rock.
I've tried.
That's right.
That would be the easiest. I was just like, if there is meat at the center of a rock, this is going to be the easiest meal I've ever had. If there isn't, I'm going to be taking my pickaxe to this rock for like hours for no reason.
That's right.
But I think it's worth, let's see if the juice is worth the squeeze, as they say. Ugh, dude, okay, can I ask you something?
Sure.
You go to your fridge, you get an apple out of the fridge. Do you always wash the apple? Do you always rinse?
If the answer before marriage was no.
Yeah.
And the answer after marriage is yes. My wife has changed a number of those habits in me. My filthy disregard for my own life. Yeah.
That's good. Okay. What about an orange? You don't have to wash it.
Peel it right out.
You just got to peel
off
it
the
right
dirt.
Right?
Yeah. You
don't need to do anything like that.
You don't have to. No. And a banana is the same way. I'm not going to wash a banana.
Grapes?
Again, beforehand. How much of a pain in the ass it is to wash a grape? And a strawberry is the same way. The thing that bums me out about washing grapes and strawberries is you can't wash all of them at once. You got to only wash the ones you're going to eat.
Yeah.
Or else our old friend bacteria shows up.
That's right. It's a problem.
Yeah.
It's
What
a
about
real
you?
problem.
Are you a fastidious washer?
No, I'm not. I'm not. Do you know what I wash? I'll wash like if I open up like a bag of spinach or kale. I definitely wash that all the time.
Yeah, there's dirt in that. What about a potato?
I don't really eat potatoes.
Really?
Yeah,
like,
my mom, like we're Eastern European, and so like growing up, there was just like so many potatoes at every meal. A
yeah.
potato, I just can't eat a potato now. I look at a potato and I'm like, ugh. I can eat like French fries.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like that's
Sure.
as potatoes as I get. Like
Yeah.
even my mom used to make like the scallop potatoes, like the cheesy scallop potatoes or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that was a big deal. She loved those, and I just
haven't
like,
had those in decades.
dude, I can't even look at or
Yeah.
twice baked. She used to buy like the
Yeah.
pre-made twice baked potatoes.
You know what I
Can't
love?
do it, man.
I love like a baked potato with just cheese and sour cream
Yeah.
on it. I'll do that. I mean, I'll do that with a fork, baby.
Nah,
That's a meal.
I can't do it. Like even I'll show up to like a restaurant. And people will have like ordered an appetizer plate for like, you know, it'll have like the potato skins or something. And I'll just look at it and be like,
Oh, really?
can't do potatoes.
Potato skins are good.
But I do think you need to scrub a potato.
Scrub.
There's like a
I
little,
don't
like
do that.
with like a produce brush. You just take a quick on a potato.
I know that's the ideal.
Yeah.
That's not, I'm not doing that. I'll rinse it underwater. I'm not scrubbing it.
Yeah. But I also, as a single man, living by myself, I also will like, if I buy something like carrots or celery or something like that, I buy it like pre-chopped, pre-washed, like all that stuff. So I don't feel as much of a need to like wash it.
Yeah.
But with stuff like apples, I know I should be rinsing my apples off. I know I should.
Yeah.
But I'm not. Because I take the apple out of the fridge and there it is. It's right there in my hand. It's already done.
Yeah. You gotta take the little sticker off though.
I don't rinse cookie. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I reach into the pantry, I grab a cookie. I don't rinse cookie.
This is the cookie rule of every food.
Yeah,
if I don't do it to a cookie, I'm not doing it to you.
Dude, I don't know what's on that cookie.
What do you think? You're better than a cookie, Apple? You're not.
It's not. I don't know what's on a cookie, Jeff. I don't know where the cookie's been.
That's right.
But I don't rinse cookie.
That's right. It goes directly into mouth.
Yeah. And like the apples that I buy, I usually buy the apples that come in the sack where they're already, you know, all the
sacked
green
apples.
Sacked apples. There's
nothing dirty in that sack.
No, I get the green. I get the green apples in the sack.
Sure.
In the plastic bag.
That means they've been sacknatized.
That's right. And I want to leave all of the delicious microplastics from that plastic sack.
Yes.
On my apples. I don't want to get rid of those microplastics.
Why would you? That's part of the flavor.
I'm gonna keep eating. I'm gonna keep eating my food until I set off card readers when I walk by.
There you go.
You know,
you want to be plastic man.
I want to be a giant walking NFC. People are gonna be like, my phone's gonna be like. For a second, I thought you left your wallet behind, but it turns out it's right next to me. No, I did leave my wallet behind. It's just my hand touching the phone.
Did you bring your own bag, sir? Yes, in my belly.
In my belly.
Sure did.
And then I open up my mouth and I have her put the apple in.
Right in.
Put it right in. I'm like, I don't have to rinse these, right?
Just like the cookie.
She's like, well, I would. I'm like, okay. All right. There's no need to make me feel bad about my life choices.
Anyway, I love this. I love the journey into knowledge, and we're still doing it today. We obviously talk about a lot of journeys into knowledge in the modern times, but it's fun to look back, and go, man, we were dumb.
Yeah, it's important to know that we are getting smarter. It's important to draw that line.
Yeah.
Well, thank you to Synergy for sending this story in. Much appreciated.
Such a good one. Yeah, thank you, Synergy. That was posted on our Discord, which, of course, as you know, ladies and gentlemen, is an exclusive club that we gate to make sure only the best people are allowed in.
That's right. If you want to take the entrance exam, The entrance exam is simply heading to patreon.com/we have concerns and figuring out how to give us $1.
It's not hard, honestly. You'd be surprised how many people don't do it.
Yeah. Well, no. Listen, here's what I'm going to say. Only the smartest people, only the top 5% smartest people figure out how to give us $1 a month.
That you're correct. It really is a representative of your cognitive ability.
Yep.
And the smartest folks available there in the Discord. If you are even smarter than that, I mean, you would like even more perks for even a higher amount of support of this show. You can find those on patreon.com/we have concerns as well. Get stuff like video versions, the tiny bits of show that we start every episode with. You get those like full episodes. Really great stuff.
Yeah. Check it out at patreon.com/we have concerns.